Hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar which focuses on utilising SCCM data in License Dashboard to facilitate complete IT asset management. We do have a number of attendees, so please can everyone check that they've placed themselves on mute. We've also tried to place everybody on mute remotely to eliminate any background noise. Please feel free to make use of the chat facility should you wish to raise any questions as we move through the presentation. My colleague will be monitoring that and we'll do our best to answer as we go along or cover things off in the QA session at the end. Webinar is scheduled for 30 minutes, so we'll try and wrap up the demo within 25 so we've got some time to address questions. We're recording the session and we'll be sharing a link out which will enable you to review it at your leisure, and if there's anything that piques your interest or any questions that occur at that point, you can get in contact with us via email, phone or web chat. So, a few quick introductions and we'll run through the agenda. My name's Matt. I've been working with License Manager for the last 4 years or so, and I've been working with License Dashboard for the last 2.5 years as a consultant. I'm going to be hosting the webinar today with Richard Foster from Phoenix Software and my colleague and the Licensing Dashboard Marketing Manager, Ben Eagling. Richard, do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Richard Foster. I'm a Microsoft consultant. I work with Phoenix Software, and I primarily work with anything to do with Microsoft, of course. And on this occasion, it's SCCM, and in particular, one of my greatest passions is looking at basically how we can get information out of SCCM. Hope that does the trick, Mike.
Absolutely, it's exactly what we're after. It's a pretty straightforward running order for today. We're just going to have a quick brief overview of License Dashboard and Phoenix Software. Richard's then going to take us through some of the many features of SCCM's discovery capabilities, and after that it's up to me to show you how users of License Manager can make best use of that fantastic data that's available from SCCM, but then augment it, enrich it and add bespoke context in order to realise tangible benefits that IT asset management can deliver. As well as identifying compliance risks, the benefits can include things such as cost avoidance, license reharvesting, deployment optimization, and license optimization. Then, as I said, for the last couple of minutes, we'll hope to close the presentation with a Q&A. So, a little bit of information for you about License Dashboard. We combine SAM and licensing expertise with professionally developed solutions. The solutions are designed to support organizations of all sizes in managing their IT expenditure, minimizing costs, optimizing utilization, and streamlining the entire asset lifecycle. We've got a client base that ranges from organizations with a couple of hundred seats right up to global organizations with seat numbers in the hundreds of thousands. Using License Dashboard's software asset management platform or services, you can expect to see immediate software cost savings on software licenses in the first year of up to 30%, with further savings year on year to follow. This is achieved by accurately discovering and reporting the entire software estate on your network, highlighting duplicate applications, unused programs, and shadow IT, as well as opportunities for reharvesting existing licenses rather than making additional unnecessary purchases. There are a full suite of products that make up the License Dashboard platform. Today we're just going to be focusing on the flagship product, License Manager, and specifically how it integrates with SCCM, taking all of the fantastic discovery data that Rich is about to show you and combining it with some other important data sources to transform it for the purposes of software asset management. I'll now hand over to Richard, and he'll be introducing Phoenix Software.
Thank you, Matt. Phoenix Software. Okay, so we've got more than 27 years experience of advising customers on the best software and also hardware, software asset management and end user compute. We originally a license reseller, significant license reseller in the channel for Microsoft products, and we work across all sectors, but the prevalent partnership now is with the public sector. Also, if you look at our website, you'll see other information, other sectors, but the partnership is strong with public sector. And of course, the section I'm dealing with is the professional services part. So what I work in is the part of the business which gives that consultancy service to the public sector, and in particular, of course, about how to use SCCM, how to get into using Office 365 and all the good products that Microsoft give to us. Thanks, Matt.
Great, thanks for that, Richard. So just a quick chat about SCCM. It is an outstanding discovery and inventory tool, but when it comes to delivering SAM, it does have its limitations, and in time, people in organisations often replace it with specialist software asset management tools. Now, the challenge there is that many specialist SAM tools require the deployment of their own agents for inventory and data collection, and the deployment of these agents is something that requires internal resource. So many organisations find that achieving full coverage for just one agent is a challenge, and inflating the number of agents required on each endpoint and starting the process of deploying and monitoring all over again can be a real headache. Microsoft SCCM is a tool of many talents. In addition to its main purpose of configuration management, it can be a great tool for the SAM manager with the ability to provide basic inventory data, which can show deployments of software in the estate, provide metering data, or ensure desktops have the approved organisational gold image deployed on them. License Dashboard can expedite the process by delivering a Gartner-recognised SAM tool that can utilise the data from an existing deployment of SCCM. It converts the inventory and metering data within SCCM to cleansed, fully presented data that an organisation can use to deliver an effective license position. It'll show them it will allow them to identify organisational risks, cost avoidance opportunities, and other benefits. Data from SCCM can be married with data from AD, from vCenter, and additional clientless inventory tools to deliver a combined data set whose data is of outstanding quality, easily on a par with any specific SAM tool's individual agent, without the lead time of new tool deployment. License Dashboard can be up and running, generating meaningful insights in days rather than months. Normally, one of the main stumbling blocks to any technology is being deployed is the internal approval that's required from a technology team's CAB process, along with addressing objections to another agent being deployed on the network or taking up additional bandwidth. By utilising data from an existing configuration management tool, License Dashboard can sidestep those challenges and provide a SAM solution without adding further operational challenges. So, I think it's time to hand over to Richard, who will take you through some of the fantastic facilities and functions available in SCCM.
Thanks, Pat. Okay, so what I'd like to show you today is really a simple lab environment, and this is where we start because I want to show you the foundation that underpins SCCM, how it can inventory, how it actually takes information from your network, stores it ready for License Dashboard to further enhance and to clarify what's happening. So what I have is a couple of servers, a site server. I've installed a particular role. The Asset Intelligence Synchronization Point has been installed and is enabled, and that's installed on a server here in my test lab. If I just take you back to a view of my clients, you'll see it's quite simple. There is certainly a few servers in there, but there's a selection of Windows 10, W10, being Windows 10 desktops, and a few Windows 7 desktops. And what I'm going to do is just take you through some of the features of the actual product, how Asset Intelligence is gathered, and really tell you a story about how perhaps software might have found its way onto a particular machine in my environment that I want to look further into. And it's by using the features in Asset Intelligence, by looking at the inventory of the data that's being collected about an application, where I can actually decide if an application is wanted or needed in the future. I'll reference it as the legacy application problem. And this legacy application is being used in Windows 7, and I'm going to track it down to see why and who is using this in Windows 10. So just a quick look at Asset Intelligence. We know it's a role that's installed. I have to do a bit of configuration. It's very simple. Checkboxes here where I can actually gather reporting class information. As you can see, as I moved around there, got some contextual help. That's been set up now. And what you'll see when we land on the dashboard here, that you will see categories and families are set up. This is because I'm actually interacting with System Center Online. On a daily basis, there's a schedule, information is being downloaded, and as I'll refer to it as the Asset Intelligence Catalog, it's basically been it's a subset now of my site database. So that information has been brought down. My software, be it in a lab environment, is fairly well inventoried. So there's nothing open to interpretation here, unidentified and not pending. All my software is being categorized, which means that Microsoft are well aware of the software and what the software intended purpose is. You are free to add further categories or yourself. So as I just quickly show you here, there will be categories of software you're very familiar with in your business also. And then just a quick look at the inventory. You can see there is a list of information there. It's not giving us any specific information, but it does highlight one application I'm interested in that I'm following through in this demonstration. That's the Microsoft XML Notepad 2007. As I mentioned, I fear it might have got onto the Windows 10 desktops. I didn't want it to be installed on there, so we're going to look a bit further into how that might have actually happened and taken place. And we're going to do that by looking at the reporting that's available in SCCM. So let's look at that reporting now. As you'll see, you've been in reports before, I'm sure, and perhaps you've never actually needed to use an asset intelligence report, but on this occasion that is required, and certainly want to find out about this legacy software. Is it being used? Is it actually being used at all, in fact? So I think probably the best report that's going to serve a purpose initially will be to look at the infrequently used software report. I will actually just point out that's just a collection of 5 desktops. I'm going to put a figure in here of 10. You know, if it's not used for 10 days, I'm fairly happy initially to start to perhaps discount it as being an option in my new rollout. So I can see there it is listed, and by the looks of things, it's not being used really very much at all in my small collection here. But I'm not really completely happy with the term infrequent. It doesn't fill me with complete confidence. I need a bit more information before I can decide if that software is actually no longer required. And perhaps I should be looking at some metering or looking at some tracking on that basis. I want to just quickly check the software metering side of things, and that's going to be a report of well, of course. It's available in here. And I'm going to check computers that have run a specific metered program. I know it was metered originally because most of my programs have been set up like that. So I'm going to check a report in here, computers that have run a specific metered program. So let's just, again, look. Lots of metering happening here. The one I'm interested in is XML Notepad. And of course, has it been used this month? It is a test lab. It is a month or 2 old, perhaps. What's happening? Right, okay, so this is some new information. I thought might be the case. I've heard about this in the environment that somebody's inadvertently installed perhaps the application, but you can see there that the Windows 10 desktop hasn't got or hasn't been used very much. In fact, it's a very low average usage, as is for the other 2 machines, but the actual duration of the use is incredibly small duration. It's almost like a click. So I'm just going to before we go any further, I'm just going to quickly jump onto that desktop out of interest, and just to satisfy my own curiosity and just to see well what's happened with regards to that application. So I will go back onto there. Let me see that Windows 10 desktop. Let me log onto that desktop and find that application. Okay, so the application's not installed, and that's possibly been uninstalled. Let me find another desktop with it on. So I'm going to connect to a further desktop, Windows 10 desktop. We can explain this uninstall in a moment, I fear, but I do see a Windows 10 desktop here with the application, and this would explain why it hasn't launched for very long, because the application had some prerequisites which haven't been correctly configured. Somehow the admins installed it. Certainly if we want to carry on with this application, I will certainly need to find out who's using my desktop previously and work out what's happening. And if I just actually close that for the time and go back to my console, what I'm interested in doing really is just trying to work out, well, is there a particular use that's being used in this particular desktop? So I'm just going to quick check that first, because I'm not happy with just actually not pursuing that rollout. I just want to see, if we can find out. So asset intelligence, in conjunction with primary users, in fact, and with the last logged on user in this case, may tell me a bit more information about who the user of that particular application is. So let me just show you this particular report. Again, the desktop concerned was, okay, so we have some interesting information here. We've got a lot of logons, various profiles here. The one I'm interested in is the rich user, so that person in particular, a lot of console logons. This could be the user of a particular computer. This could be the person we need to speak with. So some information there about the application. We know which desktop it's running on, of course, and we need to be able to determine and that is the primary user for that particular application. So what I would do then is I would look at the following on from that conversation, of course, with that person, I would thinking in terms of, well, do we need to uninstall? Now, this is something I've certainly set about earlier on, and you'll see from logging onto the Windows 10 desktop initially, there was no application there. So let me just show you the uninstall process, what has actually happened with the uninstall. So let's look at the applications. You'll see there, Notepad, and you'll see it's already been uninstalled from the Windows 10-1 and the Windows 10-2 desktops. So what I would like to do then is just to confirm that it's easily done. You've seen it there, it's been removed. You saw on one of the desktops it was still there. So all I will do really is just run a very simple deployment, an uninstall deployment for another set of desktops. Now on this occasion, as I'm happy that we don't need only the Windows 10, I can just choose the whole collection this time, and I can move through. And this time, for the action for the deployment, I will choose uninstall, and then that can be scheduled to run or run as soon as possible. So that's finished off very quickly, and that's given you the confidence that an application could be discovered. We've found out who the user of the application is probably going to be, and certainly we haven't configured any user device affinity, but just through running 3 or 4 reports, we have information there about the application. On this occasion, we've decided that we possibly need to speak with the user, find out if it's needed in the future. But that gives you a bit of an insight into what is available in Asset Intelligence in SCCM. Thank you. Okay, Matt, back to you.
Cool. Thanks very much, Richard. Right, let's throw up License Dashboard and License Manager. So, excuse me. As you were, I'm sure you're able to tell from that brilliant demo from Richard there's an awful lot of data that's available in SCCM, but I think you can also see that the data is very detailed, that not all of it is immediately relevant to something that you may be trying to do as a software asset manager within an organization. And so what we like to do is to take that data from SCCM and use it along with other data sources, import those into License Manager to give us the opportunity to deliver as quickly as possible any potential risks to compliance and to identify things like organizational efficiencies that we can drive from there. Now, I'm hoping on your screens you can all see License Manager. This is our lead product from License Dashboard, and it's our specialist SAM tool. Now you can see there that we've already imported the data from SCCM that Richard was talking about. We've also got data in here from Active Directory, from VMware, and from Dashboard Discovery. And that's all asset data. So that data is going to allow us to calculate a license demand position, and we're going to calculate that based on what we can see in the Asset Workspace. So if I move into the Assets Workspace, the first tab that we can see here is a very brief summary that gives me some top-level information about the environment we're looking at. We can see the number of devices that are there, and obviously the breakdown of physical and virtuals. We can see the number of users that we've pulled in from Active Directory, and the number of software installs that we've detected from our software. Now, there's 2 different sort of types of assets that you're going to be dealing with these days. The first one is your individual devices, and the device tab shows you all the information we have on each of these devices. So you can see that whereas in SCCM the data may have been split across a number of reports, what we've done here is to incorporate it all into just one line. And we can see here, let's take this laptop as an example. We can see that it's physical device. We can see all sorts of information about things like the operating system. We can see information on things like the service pack version, the make and the model, serial number, right down to things like processors, cores, and whether or not multi-threading is active. The point is that all that information on an individual asset is available on just one line. So you've got all the information that you're going to need to generate license demand for a given application right there in front of you. So that's fine when you're looking at assets, but also we need to generate a license demand based on users these days for things like user subscription licensing. And so you can see here that we've also pulled into License Manager various pieces of information from Active Directory about all the users that are in our environment. Now, the key thing as far as generating license demand goes is that once we've got our assets, we've got our devices and our users, we're going to need to know what software is deployed on devices and is being used. So Here we have our list of every single licensable piece of software that has been detected by SCCM and by the other inventory and discovery tools that I mentioned. Let's take a quick look at a user asset. I happen to know the name of one of those users. Can't think why I would remember that name, but there we go, Matthew Halstead. He's a devilishly handsome chap, I've heard, and he has subscriptions for Office 365 on his device, attached to his username, along with subscriptions for Power BI and Skype for Business. So there we go. In terms of license demand for this user, there's going to be a license demand for each of those individual subscriptions that's going to be generated by License Manager. Now, the one thing I want to draw people's attention to is this top line here. So this Office 365 subscription obviously means that if this user has devices where Office Pro Plus 2016 is deployed, there's going to be no license demand generated by those deployments because the license is covered by this subscription. Now, SCCM does a great job of associating users with devices, and if you want to see the assets that are related to an individual user in License Manager, once that that data's been imported, you can do that by just hopefully clicking that box there. And it should bring us up. There we go. So this is all of the information. Let's just filter it down to just Microsoft products. There we go. And we can see that my laptop, LT00568, it's right in front of me now on the desk, has a number of Microsoft products installed. We can see here that Office Professional Plus 2016 is installed, and that a number of the components that make that up are installed. Now, obviously, as I said, the Office 365 subscription that I have as a user means that this individual line doesn't require licensing in and of itself, and you can see here that because of that 365 plan subscription in my user account, the software detection on my device no longer generates any license demand. So it's just one example of how user and device software deployments and license demand is managed by License Manager. Now, we also have within License Manager the ability to, using data from various sources, create detailed maps of data center environments, of data centers, of clusters, and of the individual hosts within those clusters, and also to then generate license demand for the applications deployed on virtual boxes held on those hosts and managed within those clusters. So that's one side of license management that will allow us to generate a license demand, or the number of licenses that are required to make an organization compliant for an individual application. The other thing we need to look at is license entitlement. Now, for a publisher like Microsoft, that data is available from an MLS, and that MLS can be automatically imported into License Manager using an automated process, in which we end up with every single individual license purchase listed on an individual line within license records. So that tells us what's been bought, but it doesn't tell us what we can use. We need to go through the process of allocating software assurance renewals to base licenses, moving products through metric changes, for example. Now, once you've imported the raw data, License Manager can do that for you, or if you choose, you can take control of that process and do it manually. Once you've completed that process of associating license purchases, you will generate a license entitlement. So this shows you the licenses that you're actually able to make use of to cover off software deployments. Now, once you've got your license entitlement position, once you've got your license demand position, you can go ahead and reconcile the two to give yourself an effective license position. As you can see here, here's all our, let's have a look at our Microsoft software. And you can see, if we come back to the Office 365 subscriptions, that license demand is listed here. If we double click into this, we can see all of the users who have an Office 365 E3 plan subscription. And you can see that earlier on, while I was working through this, I allocated licenses to that license demand to make them compliant. So there you go. That is a brief overview, very brief, of some of the functionality that's available in License Manager, which will allow you to manage your effective license position and to start generating some tangible cost savings from IT asset management. Let's just move back to the PowerPoint slides. We've had the SCCM demo. We've done the License Manager demo. I hope that quick run through will give you all an idea of how the excellent discovery and inventory data available from SCCM can be used in License Manager to deliver insights into the IT assets of your organizations. As I mentioned before, License Dashboard is not just License Manager. We've got a number of other products that we manage. We've got Dashboard Discovery, which is an inventory tool that can be used both with and without agents to deliver data on hardware and software. We've got the License Dashboard Portal, which is a web portal, which gives clients the ability to share IT asset data from License Manager in a read-only format with chosen users. So it's possible to set up specific reports for specific users, create bespoke dashboards, and show key data on your organization's IT assets. We've also got License Manager API, which allows an organization to extract data from License Manager and use it to support other applications such as CMDBs and ITSM platforms. Now, for organizations who don't wish to or aren't able to implement a SAM tool themselves, it is possible to gain the benefits of License Manager through a managed service. For public sector organisations in the UK, Phoenix Software deliver their Clarity managed service using the License Dashboard tools, and also offer a number of other modules which can support organisations as they begin their journey towards better understanding and control of their IT assets. For businesses other than public sector organisations in the UK, License Dashboard also provide a managed service along very similar lines, and if that may be a preferable solution for you as an alternative to deploying the tool yourself. So, why Phoenix and License Dashboard? Well, just to sum up, Gartner have reported savings on IT expenditure in year one of up to 30%, with further savings in subsequent years. And License Dashboard and Phoenix working together can help any organisation to realise a functional IT asset management process. So, where do we go from here? Well, first, I suppose, is for me to thank you for your time. If you're interested in working with Phoenix or License Dashboard, we're offering discounted pricing on the tool set until the end of February. All the contact details that you may need are above, so please feel free to reach out with any questions or comments. I think all that's left for me to say is thank you very much, Richard. Thank you, Ben. And,
thank you, Matt.
Thank you all for your time.